Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and abundance, there is a power that lies closer than breath, a force mightier than coin, crown, or kingdom. It is the word, your word, untrained, unguarded, and yet unimaginably potent. You were never taught the laws, and yet you live under their rule every day. Today, I unveil the 9 laws of spoken wealth, sacred principles hidden not because they are complex, but because they are too simple for the world to see. Law 1. The word is a wand, your tongue is a magic wand. Speak wealth, and wealth awakens. Speak lack, and poverty answers like an obedient servant. Say, I can't afford it, and the universe will close its treasury. Say, a divine supply is mine now, and watch as doors open where there were none. Law 2. Emotion charges the spell. Words without feeling are dust in the wind. Speak your wealth with the fire of faith. Say it like it's already yours. My wealth flows freely, joyfully, endlessly. The universe responds not to need but to certainty. Law 3. Never speak against your wealth. You cannot call riches and criticize them in the same breath. To say a money is the root of evil is to shut the gates of gold. Instead, declare, money is a tool of divine good in my hands. Law 4. Protect the gate of the tongue. Idle words are dangerous allies of lack. Every complaint, every sarcastic jab about a being broke, these are agreements with poverty. Revoke them. Cancel them. Say instead, I am aligning with the opulence of the universe. Law 5. Speak as if the money's already here. Declare your wealth in the present tense. Say, I have, not I wish. Say, I receive, not I'm waiting. Time bends for the one who speaks from the mountaintop, not the valley. Law 6. Repeat until reality reshapes. Repetition is revelation. The subconscious mind, your silent partner, does not argue, it accepts. Say it again and again. I am prosperous. My income increases effortlessly. I attract wealth like a magnet of light. Law 7. Reverse every curse. You will be tested. You will be tempted to speak defeat. When you do, immediately reverse it. Scratch that. What I meant was, I am wealthy beyond measure. You have the authority to overwrite the past with your next sentence. Law 8. Direct your speech toward divine intelligence. Do not speak to the lack. Speak to the source. Shiti. Infinite substance knows my need and meets it now. You are not begging a silent sky. You are commanding a loyal universe. Law 9. Wealth responds to boldness. Timid speech brings timid returns. Stand in the mirror and declare, I am the living testimony of divine prosperity. These are the 9 laws. Simple, sacred, ignored, but now remembered by you. As you walk from this place, speak not of what you lack, but of what you now claim. Speak with clarity, with certainty, with unshakable joy, because what you say of your wealth will one day become the only thing you see. Thank you. Would you like this as a printable PDF or visual graphic quote set? Law 1. The word is a wand. In the beginning there was the word, not action, not effort, not struggle, but the word. And that word was power. You have been taught to work for your wealth, to hustle and grind, to toil beneath the sun, hoping for drops of gold to fall into your cup. But there is an ancient truth, overlooked and underestimated. Your spoken word is the first form of currency. It is the wand by which you command substance to take form. Every fortune, every palace, every bank account began as a phrase, spoken in faith or in fear. Words are not idle puffs of air. They are creative forces, architects of reality, blueprints in sound. The words you speak about money are not commentary, they are prophecy. When you say, I'm always broke, you are issuing a command. Invisible energies align, circumstances obey. The spiritual realm responds without judgment or delay. The universe does not ask if you meant it, it simply hears and fulfills. Your word is law. Your word goes before you, carving the road your feet will walk upon. What you speak, you summon. And yet from childhood, many were taught to speak of limitation as a badge of humility. Phrases like money doesn't grow on trees, we can't afford that, or a rich people are greedy become inherited curses, passed down like antique furniture but far more dangerous. They seem harmless, but they are spells, repeated spells. And all spells, even unconscious ones, are potent when spoken often. You must become aware that every time you speak of your finances, you are not describing your reality. You are designing it. Your words are the sculptor's chisel on the marble of your life. Careless speech is like carving chaos into stone. Instead of saying, I never have enough, speak this. A divine substance meets all my needs abundantly. Say it not as a wish, but as a decree. Your word is not a request. It is a royal edict when spoken in spiritual authority. This is not positive thinking. It is spiritual legislation. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you command by aligning your speech with divine truth. The universe is not moved by desperation. It is moved by alignment. And the first sign of alignment is the transformation of your tongue. Listen closely to your language. Is your speech rich, generous, confident, or is it worried, fearful, and riddled with lack? Do you speak as a child of the Most High or as a beggar in rags? A king does not beg his kingdom to obey. He declares, and it is so. A queen does not wonder if her treasure will arrive. She speaks, and it is done. You too must speak as royalty, not because of ego, but because of spiritual inheritance. Begin to train your mouth to speak only that which you desire to see. Let your words become aligned with divine wealth. Speak only what builds. Speak only what uplifts. Speak only what you wish to receive in multiplied form. If your finances are currently low, say not "I'm broke," but instead, "This is a temporary appearance. Divine wealth is mine now, and it manifests in perfect timing." What you see with your physical eyes may contradict your spiritual declarations, but do not be deceived. Words spoken in faith are always working, even when nothing seems to move. The soil does not look different the moment the seed is planted, but the harvest has already begun beneath the surface. Speak your wealth aloud, morning, noon, and night. Let the vibration of abundance rise from your chest and spill from your lips. Let your words be coated in joy, certainty, and sacred expectation. Speak even when you feel doubt, especially then, for it is not emotion that moves heaven, it is alignment with truth. If your finances are entangled in difficulty, do not curse them. Bless them. Say, "I bless every dollar I have, and I bless every dollar on its way to me. My money is multiplying even now." This too is part of your wealth, your ability to direct energy with the sound of your voice. Every word you speak is a brushstroke on the canvas of your financial reality. Will you paint struggle or surplus, fear or fulfillment, poverty or prosperity? The answer is not in your bank account, it is in your mouth, and your mouth. Law 2 emotion charges the spell. It is not the word alone that creates. It is the spirit behind the word, the energy, the fire, the conviction that gives the word its wings. You may say the right affirmations, but if they are spoken like a chore or whispered in fear, they become hollow vessels. Empty words carry no power. The universe does not respond to syllables. It responds to vibration. Emotion is the divine electricity that surges through your spoken words. Without feeling, a word is flat, like a lamp without a current. But when spoken with deep belief, joy, gratitude, or certainty, your words become living commands, saturated with force, charged with spiritual voltage. You cannot mumble your way into wealth. You must feel it. You must speak prosperity not as a theory, but as a living truth within your bones. When you say, "I am wealthy," it must reverberate like the toll of a bell, not just through your mind, but through your nervous system, your heartbeat, your breath. This is not about theatrics. This is about alignment. The energy of your word must match the energy of what you are calling in. Consider this: a frightened voice calling for abundance is still calling from fear, and fear is the language of lack. If you declare, "I am rich," while feeling anxious, defeated, or doubtful, you have mixed the vibration. The universe, hearing both the affirmation and the underlying fear, will answer the louder signal. And fear, when felt more strongly than faith, becomes the true request. This is why emotion is everything. Emotion is the ink in your pen when you write your spiritual checks. It is the color in your vision, the heat in your prayer. Without it, you may speak the same words as a powerful manifester, yet yield no fruit, because your inner state denies your outer speech. Speak it like you mean it. Speak it like it's already done. Speak it as if the wealth were raining down in that moment, as if the account were already full, the debt already dissolved, the opportunity already knocking. What happens in this elevated emotional state? You are no longer begging, you are receiving. You are not hoping, you are claiming. You are claiming. And that emotional certainty is magnetic. Gratitude is one of the most potent emotions to pair with your words. When you give thanks before the money arrives, you demonstrate complete trust. You're saying, "It's done." And so it is. Gratitude is not a polite afterthought. It is a signal to the universe that you believe what you have spoken. Joy is another amplifier. When you speak about your finances with joy, not with tension or performance, but with true pleasure, you shift into resonance with divine supply. Money responds to joy because joy is the frequency of expansion, of circulation, of life itself. Where joy is, increase follows. Let your declarations rise from the core of you. Don't recite them, embody them. Let I am prosperous come not just from your lips, but from your spine, your chest, your breath. Let it feel inevitable. Let it feel natural. Wealth must become the emotional home you return to, not a place you wish to visit. And when doubt creeps in, when fear tries to dull your voice, you must not silence yourself. You must speak louder, with more love, more fire, more conviction than the doubt can withstand. Remember, emotion is not weakness, it is fuel. It is the fire that transforms your words from wishes into wealth. When you speak with love, belief, gratitude, and certainty, the very atoms around you begin to shift. The unseen becomes stirred, and the seen cannot help but respond. 3. Your tongue holds the power of wealth, or want. The tongue is small, yet it is the rudder of your entire life. It steers ships, topples empires, and births empires anew. What you do with your tongue, moment by moment, determines not only your peace or your pain, but your prosperity or poverty. You were not given speech to pass time or entertain despair. You were given speech to direct power. The words that leave your mouth go before you into the invisible. They gather shape and form in realms unseen, and they do not return empty. They create, they destroy, they heal, they delay, they bless, they bind, they loose, they build bridges or raise walls. Your finances are following your mouth. Every time you speak of your life, you are spelling it out. Quite literally. That is why we call it spelling, because your words are a form of magic. The kind of magic that has governed your money since the very first time you said, I can't afford that, or money just slips through my fingers. These are not just statements. They are permissions. They are contracts with lack. You may not remember when you signed them, but your life bears the proof of the agreement. And unless you cancel them, with equal authority and fresh declaration, they continue to operate like invisible laws. You cannot create wealth with a mouth trained to diminish. You cannot call forth overflow while entertaining words of fear, cynicism, or complaint. The tongue is not neutral. It is always investing in wealth or in want. To say a money is hard to come by is to set angels of increase aside and welcome the taskmasters of toil. To say, I'm just not good with money, is to lock the vault and throw away the key. These phrases, though spoken casually or in jest, do not recognize humor. They recognize vibration. And vibration responds to intention. Whether you meant it or not, your life registers it. Now, understand this clearly. You cannot bless and curse your finances at the same time. The tongue cannot serve two masters. It cannot call wealth from heaven while sowing seeds of scarcity in conversation. A double tongue creates double-mindedness, and the universe cannot deliver abundance to one who speaks against what they pray for. Every sentence you speak either expands your capacity to receive or restricts it. So train your tongue as a tool of creation, a servant of vision, a messenger of faith. Instead of I never have enough, say, my supply is limitless. I always have more than enough. Instead of I'm drowning in debt, say, divine order governs my finances. Every obligation is paid in full through unexpected channel. Instead of you don't know how I'll make it, say, infinite intelligence knows exactly how to prosper me. And that plan is unfolding now. This is not pretending. This is aligning. It is reclaiming the power you have unknowingly handed over to fear and worry. It is restoring the tongue to its rightful role, not as a reporter of reality, but as a creator of it. Guard your mouth, for it is the gateway of manifestation. Speak little of problems and much of solutions. Speak less of delays and more of divine timing. Avoid the language of limitation, not because you fear it, but because you understand its effect. To live richly is to speak richly, not just about money, but about life itself, because the one who sees beauty, order, and increase in all things becomes a magnet for more of the same. And it all begins with the mouth, the most overlooked altar in your entire life. Lawford, you cannot beg and create at the same time. There are two energies that cannot live in the same space. Creation and desperation. One flows from spiritual authority, the other from spiritual amnesia. One declares, the other pleads. One is a master, the other a beggar, and your words will always reveal which realm you are speaking from. You were not created to beg. Begging is not humility. Begging is forgetting who you are. It is forgetting that you are a child of divine source, a being endowed with creative power, not through effort alone, but through alignment and authority. To beg is to behave as if you are separate from the infinite supply that surrounds you. It is to imagine that lack is real, that the channel is closed, and that you must now convince some distant force to toss you crumbs from the banquet table. But the banquet was never closed to you. You are not meant to scratch at the door of abundance. You are meant to walk in, speak, and receive and receive. The universe is structured to respond to command, not complaint. It answers clarity, not confusion. It flows toward faith, not fear dressed in prayerful language. When you speak about your money situation, listen closely. Are you declaring or are you pleading? Are your affirmations dripping with panic and worry hidden beneath spiritual phrases? Saying, please just help me get by this month may sound harmless, but energetically it speaks of separation, uncertainty, and powerlessness. You must understand, you are not here to wish for wealth. You are here to call it forth. A creator does not plead with the clay. A painter does not beg the canvas. A divine being does not beg the universe. The spoken word, when paired with begging energy, loses its creative charge. It becomes diluted, neutralized. It sounds spiritual but carries no spiritual power because the speaker has forgotten their place. Now, let us be clear. Asking is not wrong, but there is a world of difference between asking with authority and begging with fear. Asking when done from a place of truth is an act of alignment. It is a recognition of divine flow. It says, I know what is mine, and I open my hands to receive it. Begging, on the other hand, says, I do not believe it is mine, but I hope someone will pity me enough to give it anyway. You must train yourself to stop speaking from the wound. When you speak as if you are trapped in lack, your words are soaked in that belief. You may repeat affirmations, but if they are recited from a place of desperation, they create resistance, not relief. The subconscious mind, which hears all and agrees with all, will not respond to the words alone. It responds to the state behind the words. This is why declarations of wealth must come from a still place, a grounded place, a remembered place. Not from a frantic flurry of trying to manifest, but from an inner knowing that says it is already mine. That certainty, even when the outer world looks unchanged, is what draws the unseen into form. Speak to the mountain, not about the mountain. Too often we find ourselves venting about lack, to friends, to ourselves, even in our prayers. But the law does not move by sympathy. The law moves by faith. You can cry about your situation and remain in it, or you can rise and speak to it. To speak with authority is not arrogance. It is obedience to the truth of who you are. So instead of saying, please, I just need enough to survive, say, infinite supply flows through me now. Every need is met before I even speak it. Instead of, I'm struggling to pay my bills, declare, every financial obligation is handled with grace and ease. My supply comes from a source that never runs dry. The key is not the volume of your voice, but the vibration of your spirit. You may whisper and still create mountains of gold if your words come from a place of inner conviction. Or you may shout with worry and manifest delay because worry is still a form of fear. Remember this, you do not have to convince the universe to bless you. It has already blessed you. It has already blessed you. The blessing is stored in spiritual escrow, waiting only for the right frequency to draw it down into your life. That frequency is not begging. It is bold, clear, calm declaration, spoken not to get something, but to release what is already yours. Begging is born from the belief that you are unworthy, uncertain, unconnected. But creation is born from the truth that you were never separate, never unsupported, never without power. The moment you shift from pleading to proclaiming, you shift from servant to co-creator. And the universe does not delay when the rightful heir takes their place at the throne with words that match their divine inheritance. Law 5 Wealth is a spiritual agreement. Wealth is not just a material condition. It is not simply the byproduct of labor, talent, or circumstance. Wealth, in its truest form, is a spiritual agreement, a covenant between you and the infinite source of all that is. Until you see it this way, you will chase it externally and miss the deeper truth that you were never meant to pursue it at all. You were meant to align with it. Wealth is not out there. It is not locked behind a gate, nor hoarded in vaults, nor reserved for the few. Wealth is a living vibration, an aspect of divine intelligence itself, and it responds to those who are in spiritual alignment with its essence. It is not earned in the way the world imagines, it is received through agreement. This agreement is not signed with ink or sealed by law. It is formed with your consciousness, your belief, your word. When you agree that wealth is your divine birthright, that it flows not from man but from source, that it is not wicked but sacred, then and only then does it begin to form around you in visible ways. But if deep in your soul you still believe that money is dangerous or corrupt or must be suffered for, then you have not yet signed the agreement. You are still at odds with the energy of wealth. And wealth cannot remain where it is resented, feared, or misunderstood. To receive wealth as a spiritual agreement is to come into harmony with the laws that govern abundance. These laws are not man-made. They were not written by economists or shaped by systems. They are eternal principles that govern the flow of energy, and money is simply one form of that energy. So ask yourself, what agreements have I unconsciously made? Did I agree with my family's fears about money? Did I agree with the world's belief in scarcity? Did I agree that I have to struggle endlessly to receive just enough? These silent agreements, made through repetition, emotion, and assumption, must be revoked. You revoke them not with effort, but with a new word, a new declaration. You speak a higher agreement into existence. You affirm, not to convince yourself, but to rewrite the contract you didn't know you signed. I now agree with divine wealth. I now agree with ease. I now agree with overflow. And as you begin to speak in this way, something shifts. It is not visible at first, but it is real. The invisible realm hears your agreement and begins rearranging itself around your new signature. The old patterns, delays, setbacks, tightness are not punishments. They are reflections of your former agreements. And when those agreements change, your experience must change as well. You do not have to perform for the universe to receive abundance. You must simply agree with it. Agree that it is already present. Agree that it belongs to you. Agree that it arrives without struggle. When your belief matches this truth, wealth flows not as a reward, but as a response. This is why your spoken word is so critical. Each statement is an affirmation of an agreement, conscious or unconscious. To say, "A money never stays with me," is to affirm a binding contract with loss. To say, "I always attract new sources of income," is to renew your agreement with increase. You must become diligent in this, not rigid but intentional. Speak only what you desire to affirm. Speak only what you are willing to live. Let your word become a reflection of the contract you are writing with life itself. Some will say, "But I work hard and I still struggle." And it is true, effort without agreement often leads to exhaustion without reward. Because the spiritual realm does not move by effort alone, it moves by alignment. When your words, your emotions, and your beliefs come into harmony with the energy of wealth, action becomes an extension of power, not a substitute for it. Others will say, "Isn't it selfish to want wealth?" But this too is a broken agreement inherited from fear. What is selfish is to reject the blessings that would allow you to serve, uplift, and liberate others. Wealth in the hands of the spiritually aligned is not selfish, it is sacred stewardship. When you enter into a new agreement with wealth, you stop waiting for external permission. You no longer ask, "Will I be provided for?" but declare, "I am already sustained." You move from survival to sovereignty, from hoping to having. You realize that wealth was never about accumulation. It was about recognition. To live in spiritual agreement with wealth is to understand that nothing is withheld from you, only mirrored. The universe withholds nothing. It reflects everything. When you see wealth as an extension of divine order, as natural, neutral, and noble, then you stop fearing it and start allowing it. You begin to move in rhythm with its flow, and in doing so, you become a vessel through which divine substance manifests in form.